Hey guys, this is the Multiple Me demo. This is the project that we're doing where you should have 8 of you repeated throughout one piece. This project focuses on space and having something in the foreground, middle ground, and background, movement and how your eye will move through the piece, and then pattern with the repetition of you being the form. The main criteria that you want to focus on is listed on the handout. But mainly, make sure you have nice lighting. There's 8 of you in focus. Again, space, movement, and pattern. Make sure that you are interacting with yourself in some way that looks believable. Craftsmanship with editing, and then this is due on the website on Friday. So, I've got 4 pieces here just to kind of show you how to start piecing it together. Thank you, Yolene, for being our model. Once you open up your pictures, and I would recommend opening just a few at a time, you need to find out which one has you the furthest back. So this one, she's kind of close, kind of far there. So I think that second one. And that is going to be your base for this project. Whichever one you're the furthest away in, everything else gets put on top of this. So this is my base. Open up another picture. Our new tool for this project was the moving tool. So I'm going to click on that. I click on this picture and I drag it over. I'm going to go back over here. Close out this one. Get another picture. Drag it over. Moving tool. I'm staying on that right now. And then, oops. If you make it too big, you can go up to these little tabs here and just put it on the medium one. Move it over, let go. It's kind of rocking back and forth between your pictures. Again, you're supposed to have 8 layers, so I would only do about 4 at a time though, so you don't get overwhelmed with how many layers that you have. If you want to name a layer, you can double click where it says layer 3, and I could write like hand on hip, just so I have a reference over here reading which layer is which. I'm going to maximize this. And I'm also going to take a second now to save this as a Photoshop file. Every few things that you want to do, you want to save your file in case it crashes. You should name it your name. I'm going to call this one Yolene R. It's Multiple Me 2. This is our final one, and it should be the top choice, Photoshop PSD. That saves our layers. Next thing you want to do is play with these little eyeballs and what you can see. And I'm going to turn off the middle 2. I want to work with just this top one right now. With the moving tool, I'm going to line up, and I can kind of look, this looks like they kept the tripod right where it needs to be. If you want to check to make sure your pictures are lining up, you can go over to the opacity, and that messes with the translucency of your layer. Your background should not get blurry. So if I think there might have been some movement, I'm on the moving tool, I'll click on the picture once, and I can use the arrows on the keyboard to kind of make sure that background looks nice and sharp, like it lines up perfectly. I think it looks good. You don't have to do that on every step, it's just if you suspect that maybe the camera moved a little bit. Now you're going to want to click on the eraser. Make sure all of these are set, just brush 100, 100. You should pick a fuzzy feathered brush. And I like to go ahead and turn off this background too, because we're going to erase just about everything. I'm going to make my brush larger and just start erasing. As you get closer to your subject, you need to make the brush smaller so you don't accidentally erase them. And if you mess up, you can go to Edit, Step Backwards. So now that I'm getting closer to her, I'm going to make my brush a little bit smaller. And right now I don't know with where the placement of the other people are, how close I need to get. You know, this might be where she's interacting, I'm not sure. So probably about this far away right now, erasing is good. We're probably going to have to go back on layers and rework some stuff. So this layer is good for now. I'm going to turn on my next one. You have to make sure you click on it. Back to the moving tool. And I'm going to move this one into place. Turn this layer off. And I'm going to go back and I'm going to erase all around this subject. I'm not too concerned yet with how they will be overlapping yet. I just need to get all this extra information out of the way. So it's just Yolene on each layer. So now I'm going to make my brush bigger. Those checkers that you guys see, that just means if I were to save this as a JPEG that's transparent, it would be white when I save it. I'm going to turn that one off, turn on layer 1. I have to click on it to make sure I'm on that layer. Go back to the moving tool, line it up, eraser, and erase the background. So right now we've only really used two tools, which is the moving tool and the eraser. I'm going to turn on all my layers and see how things are lining up. So this one completely blocks these other two. Completely blocks this one. So I'm going to not deal with that one for a minute. These other ones look pretty good. This one, let's see. This is the layer. As like the eyeballs are important because I can figure out how she looks kind of fuzzy right there. That's coming from this layer. So on layer 1, I'm going to go back in here. Got to make sure you're on layer 1. I can erase to kind of find. So that lines up. And then this fuzz is probably this layer. So I click on layer 2. Alright, this one, since I have not showed you guys the pen tool yet, I would recommend, and I don't want to throw that at you, zoom in a little bit, get on your eraser, make it pretty small. Oops, see, that's what you don't want to do. And just carefully go around her. And what my goal is going to be is if I erase close enough all around her, then I can shift. I'm going to use the moving tool, and hopefully I can just move her over here maybe. I'm going to pause this for a second and I'm going to clean that up and then show you what that looks like. Alright, so this is the final piece where I went in and just carefully erased and replaced her. That's not always what you want to do, but if you run into that situation where you've blocked two main characters, it's an option. So you still have the pictures that you want. Once you get to this point, you can press Control, have the top layer selected, and press Control E. That means merge down. You can also go to Layer. You're messing with your layers, so you can look up here. And you have Merge Down or Merge Visible. Right now, all of these seem to match up. I'm going to go ahead and show you two before we merge. You can go to Image, Adjustments, Brightness, Contrast. If your layers look like they have different colors, you can adjust how bright something might be. It's usually a background not quite lining up. But that's where you would go to do that, is Image, Adjustments, Brightness, Contrast. All right, now I'm going to press Control E, and you can see where my layers have now all merged together. I'm going to duplicate my layer just so you can see a difference here. I'm going to go to Image, Adjustments, Brightness, Contrast. And I'm going to try to just brighten this up a little bit and bump up some contrast. Get a little bit better image here. Now I can see that this one looks a little bit darker, and since she's closer, it should be lighter. So I'm actually going to go backwards. Undo. I'm going to try to lighten her up there. Image Adjustments, Brightness, Contrast. Now I'm going to merge, Control E, image, adjustments, brightness, contrast. And if this were my final piece and all my subjects are over here, my eye movement goes here first and kind of works in this kind of line. I don't really need this. This is a wasted space. So when you're done, really think about your final composition. The crop tool is right here. And what is the information that really needs to be in your piece? All that graffiti there is a little distracting since I don't have her there. I know she actually has pictures that go over that way. For the sake of this tutorial, I would probably crop this more in this area where it's just lockers, nice leading lines. Huge difference, look at that. All this color over here definitely takes my eye to it. And taking it away makes the focus on her again. It kind of neutralizes the background. So think about that in your final composition. When you are done with this, File, Save As, your name, Multiple Me 2, JPEG, so you flatten all the layers even though I already did. Weebly will not read a Photoshop file, so any files you're done with. I would save these pretty large. Don't go all the way up to a 12, but like a 10. Because you're probably going to want these printed out. Make sure you're on baseline. And you're done. This needs to get uploaded to your websites. Make sure you add a title. This is the Multiple Me project. Then add a caption that will have your name, whatever title you actually want to give your individual piece, and a date that you did it. This would be September 2016. And then you need it to drag over a text box and add an artist statement, which is at least 3 sentences you talking about your artwork. Thank you guys. Good luck.